This is going to be an interesting week. I'm going to introduce a very abstract thought, not a thought that usually goes along with video games, but to truly understand the concepts from this point on, we have to understand sticks. And we have to accept that the sticks actually work within our systems and within our daily lives. First off, what is a stick? A stick is a thing. And the reason why I always say a stick is it's the easiest thing for us to imagine. When you were a kid, you could pick up a stick, and it would be anything. Sorry, frog in my throat. And the stick could be anything. You could turn it into a gun. You could turn it into a wizard's staff. You could turn it into a sword. When I was a kid, I would tie it to my backpack, and it would become a proton pack. For me to fight off ghosts as a ghostbuster. And, it was a simple thing. You take the stick and it becomes something else. It's not the stick itself that actually changes. It's how you use it, how your mind creates it. And so I call it sticks because that's what we did as a kid. We took rocks and sticks and we just made things out of it. And this stick, in and of itself, isn't evil. It's purely imagination when we see a stick. You pick up a certain stick and you feel like a wizard. You pick up a certain stick and it does something. And sorry for all the weird loading problems. I don't know why my slideshow has decided to be slow today, but I guess it will be. By the way, try to guess which book series I'm reading right at the moment. It won't be too hard to figure out. But it's simply our imagination. Our minds create what this stick is. You see a building, and it doesn't matter what the building actually is. It's simply a building. It's what you place into it that makes it important. For instance, I had a school that looked like a prison, and I associated it with prison. I had a school that looked kind of office building-ish, and I always associated it with magic because it always felt kind of mystical when you were inside of it. It wasn't that it looked a certain way, it's that it just felt a certain way. So we have to accept the concept that our imaginations are what create whatever the stick is being used for. So they can be used for good, and Ian McKellen is looking good in this shot. In the good thoughts, we can take a stick and we can build a stretcher for somebody. We can strap it to a leg and help them have walk. We can use it as a cane. We can use a stick to write with. In fact, the original writing was basically just skins, animal hides, and leaves, and they would burn the end of a stick, and they would use that for writing. And then they discovered that they could actually, mix that ash with water, and then they would dip a feather into it or another object, and they would stain the hides with it. And papyri were basically just mashed together sticks. They would take sticks and create this entire world and system that we understood, and it was good. That all of it was good. The writing was good. The people were good, but that doesn't mean that the stick itself was good. The stick can be evil. Here's Saruman when he's rebelling against the good. His stick is black and dark and evil. But let's think about it. When we talk about nationalism, or we talk about religion, or we talk about video games, we make up a concept in our mind that this is evil because of what we've been told to think of it. And that doesn't make any sense because it really depends on what the person is doing and why they're doing it. War is inherently evil, but some people must go to war, otherwise a far worse evil will happen. And they have to make choices in the matter, and they have to choose out what their stick will do. And that sounds kind of weird to you, but here, let me show you some concepts. These are sacred places. The one on your left is a Mongolian sacred place. And when the Mongolians find a sacred place, Each person comes in and they place a stick or a rock in that area, and it slowly piles up until it becomes a great mountain. And to the Mongolians, this is a representation that this is a sacred spot. To the right, you see a heiau found in Oahu, my home. This particular heiau was originally a very sacred and peaceful place. And then one of the kings came in and said, no, this is for a war. This is a war heiau. This is a war temple. And we are going to make offerings to this temple. Now, did the building itself change? For the most part, no. But they decided to change the ceremonies there. And you can actually sort of feel the difference. It's not that the thing changed. It's the way we used it that changed. And so you can see, the pile of sticks. It's just a pile of sticks. But to the Mongolians, and if you ever thought about it yourself, that has a great and important symbolism to it. If you were to visit a place like this, without even thinking about it, you would leave a stick. In fact, the heiau on the right has a heiau. Let's pronounce that correctly. It actually has a problem where people leave too many rocks onto the pile. They'll wrap a rock in leaves and then place it in a certain spot. And I think this is really cool, but there are signs and many locals are going, please don't do this. This is actually hurting the building. But people do this because they feel so important or feel like they need to do something for this because they feel that it's a sacred spot, even though it's not their religious beliefs. They don't have any connection to it culturally, but they feel a need to do that. By the way, make sure to check out the Wikipedia articles on there so then you can find out who actually took these pictures. And you can find out more about these particular spots. There's always more research. But in our own cultures, if you ever looked at a church, it's nothing but sticks and rocks. But it's just an advanced form of that. And then we look at it and we place an importance to it. Is this good? Is this evil? It's all in our heads. It's just a building. And yet we are the ones who change it in our minds. And we do that even today. This is actually just from the other day. I went out on a sale and I bought a bunch of games. I spent $8 and some of these were marked free. So I was like, yes, score. I wanted these games anyway. And the two that actually worked without needing to be buffered are the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon game and the Gran Turismo 3. And I haven't checked the Red Green Show or the Atari Flashback yet, but I suspect they work. But the other two, or the other three, actually need some help. You can't see the third one. It's kind of hidden in there. But in and of themselves, they're just games. But what we do with the game marks the importance. If you buy a game and all you do in it is be evil, you've got to start asking yourself, why am I playing this game? What is the importance of this game to me? And that brings up a philosophical question, but also helps you understand gaming as a cultural item, because just because it's a game doesn't mean that you can escape what the game is about or what the game is. It extends the conversation a lot more. I know a lot of people who say that, well, it's just a movie, it's just a song, it's just this or that. And honestly, I've got a problem with that because, so is religion, so is nationalism, so is, all sorts of things that we hold sacred or call evil. And though they themselves are unimportant, but we place that importance on them. Saying that Auschwitz is just a place is insulting to the people who died there. And to the many people who have to, reference that for the rest of their lives because that was their culture, both being destroyed there and destroyed later. I'm not going to get into that too much, but it does get awkward when you're German American at times. But that is the thing. We place in our minds the importance and the reasons why we do things, and sometimes we don't take a step back and go, well, why did I use this stick as a sword? Why didn't I use it as a magic wand? What was the difference in my mind that made this this way in my mind. Why am I choosing to do this? And that's where we're going to be discussing this week, is just why did people choose to do this? What are some of the patterns that I found within the system? And why does this apply to video games? So the next video is basically political things, but really I'm going to be bringing up stuff like rock and roll and computers and stuff like that as a way to show you how these patterns work. So I'll see you Wednesday and catch you all later.